Oh, okay. After that,
Yes, that's what it's doing. Well, I have to.
that has nice it's very cool.
It's ending by 5:15. Right?
Yes,
Why don't you check it? Are you in our? And then we explain something at the other session. People online do not. They have to send that to an that chat function. Eh? Who's that?
Grace.
She complained too.
Shola,
Yes, he complained, but what that's after the invitation.
They couldn't send chat.
They couldn't send chat.
Questions.
They couldn't send chat. They couldn't, participate like raising hand.
They didn't have the access.
Okay. And you grant them access. This and that.
That will be after the session. Yeah, sure.
What's the plan?
Sir?
What's the plan? Surely you buy it.
I mean, okay, my other name. Yeah,
Oh, for me, yes. Even though I like it.
Please, any panelists that have been. Session has started. Sorry, I want to. I explained to now. Yeah. Do you have the slide? Ma'am, you have sent a slide to this. To this mail, sir. The mic and the speaker is on. Yes, send it to the screen. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. You are welcome to the second session of the one we had earlier today. That's the one about the continuities and discontinuities in the Post-Osofisan playwrights. So, like I said earlier on, when we were coming in, that we need to know who are these Post-Osofisan and what do we mean by the NLNG, who they are. 20 minutes per session, okay? Per person presentation.
20 minutes. Will that not be?
Because there are three, okay. Because there are three, so 20 minutes.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so he's our timekeeper.
Invite them. Invite them now. And then.
I know, I'm the timekeeper. Time.
I'll keep that.
Okay. So we have three presenters today, and the presenters are Dr. Yinka Babalala Smart. We also have Dr. Monsuru and Dr. Tony Ogushino. So we'll start with Dr. Babalala. Am I correct? So I would like to invite Dr. Babalala here, and then Dr. Monsuru, if you are there, kindly signify. Dr. Monsuru, if you are there. Dr. Smart, please, you're welcome.
I'll send them.
Okay. So we'll take our presentation. After the presentation, we will then go into the questions and discussions. Dr. Smart, Yinka Babalala, you are welcome.
Thank you so much.
Are you ready for your paper?
Ready?
Okay. Do you have your slide to share? Or you want to switch to your paper? Okay, somebody is working on it. Dr. Monsuru, Olajide, are you there? Please, Ma, please, Dr. Monsuru, that's a question. There's no joint. There's no joint. The guest. The guest. Breaks. I
Other presentation.
All right. So are you ready?
I'm ready. What's this? Are you able to send the slide? Sir?
I'll send them.
When is it start?
Sorry for the technical break.
When will it start? We can start.
I think so.
You can start.
You can start. They will project it.
Okay. Good afternoon.
You may start.
I-
The lecturer always the lecturer.
All right. The name is Inkaso Alwala. I'm presenting a paper on Akobi Gumino and the dramatic experimentation from screen to stage as part of the discourse on the Post-Osofisan generation of playwrights, which have received very scant attention from critics and scholars alike. The realities of Nigeria in the last, let me say, 30 years or more, or 35, let's say 1990 to now, is that there are lots of new writers that have come on board that have been writing very, strong dramas in every facet of human endeavor. But they've not received so much attention as we always give to the past generation of Soyinka or Osofisan. Even now, our students, boarding scholars and all that, still go back to the work of the old hands. And this means that a lot of people that have been writing, they've been winning NLNG award. They've been, in fact, one of the key areas of their endeavor was even the Nollywood industry. A lot of the writers of the Nollywood industry came from the university system. And of course, they've made Nollywood what it is today through their, script writing and all that. But people have not given enough attention. Now, my own little area that I'm interested in is in the area of the adaptation. A lot of works have been adapted for stage from the historical narratives, from mythology, from novels, from different sources to stage. And then people have again used the same thing, for film. So people have been used to doing new stories or rebranding old ones and all that. But I realized one thing, that the area of adapting from film to stage has not been given serious or professional and scholarly attention. When it comes to adapting for stage, from history, from mythology and all that for stage, we've done so well, and we've created several masterpieces for stage. In fact, hardly will you see a play of Soyinka or Osofisan or anything that has this festival or Bafemi, Olobafemi. You are going to see strong African, presence, tradition, everything well represented. But somehow we have not been able to look at the inverse adaptation, which is my own interest in this work. So what I'm a filmmaker. So what I decided to do a few years ago, I think 2019, I just thought about, okay, the area of adaptation from screen to stage is quite popular in the West, but it's not, it's not even so much here in terms of, I've not seen a play that was made from a very popular film or something on stage. So I decided to take a leap into that. And I've had about 17 films I've made, over the course of my career in the industry. So I decided to look at some of them, and I ended up in the university as a teacher. So then, okay, let me try and see if this is also possible. So the Ukraine war made me to pick one of my screenplays that was originally written for the screen, but somehow I did not get to shoot the film. So I readapted it for screen, sorry, for stage. And then after the production, it was well received and all that. And I published it. So I first published it. I never used to call myself a playwright. I was a screenwriter. So, but when I did that and it was well received, I said, okay, maybe I should actually look at a film. So Akobi Gomina was a film I produced in 2001, 2002. Very popular in the Southwest, it had a lot of, viewership, well received by the audience. So I decided to now, and the points, the subject matter that I treated in that film was a very political film, were like 1,000 times worse, even 25, 24 years after. So I felt, let me revisit this and then readapt it for stage. And that's basically what I did. And, we showed it at the University of Ibadan. While this was going on, I was thinking, okay, I'll come and talk about this while I was preparing to, to do the play on stage. So we opened in April, and then, to a different audience from the 25 years ago to, a different mentality, new set of, ideologies and all that. And it also worked. Although it wasn't, I would have loved to put it in Lagos and make the massive production, but that would need a lot of money. So, but at the University of Ibadan, it opened in April, and it was well received. And I saw that, okay, this works. Now, and I had to document every, step of the way, how that was done and all that. So that's basically what I'm here to report quickly. Now, naturally, I had to look at a few theories to portray whatever I wanted to say. So I looked at Hutchins' theory of adaptation, which was quite germane to what I was trying to discuss. The areas of product fidelity, that is the final product, the stage product, the fidelity with the source product, differences and likeness, and prioritizing the different aspects of the materials, remediation, strategies, cross-media, reception, all that were issues that I looked at. The objective at the end of the day was to make sure that we keep discussing some of the things that we do as the post-Osofisan generation, because not a lot of people are discussing them. And at least as a writer myself and as a critic, I feel duty bound to set something in motion. And now I've done two, from film to stage. Like when I look at the Western media, they have a lot of film to stage. Once the film is very popular with the people, and they just bring the stage production out of it, musical, all kinds of things, and it will also be very popular. So I looked at what Bola Losin Peter is doing in Lagos. I feel, okay, maybe some of these films that were popular that she has done, maybe she needs to look at it for stage. I also felt she needs to adapt like Waka now for film, and then bring it back from film to stage, because this cross mediation for us is one fertile area of our industry. So for me, I was able to look at those things I mentioned, and my interpretation, or let me analysis and interpretation of my findings. There were necessary changes that I needed to do so for the format to fit. They're both audiovisual medium or media, but one is visual storytelling primarily. Because if you are watching a film, the expectation is that you see the story. You don't want to hear the story. But on stage, you see and you hear. So you have to marry that in such a way that it can convey the kind of right, medium, that the material must fit the right medium. So we looked at the changes that could fit the audience of the film, of the stage rather than the film. So we have to compact our language. We have to look at the language as well. We have to make it condensed, because stage, thrives on that, condensation. And then the series has to, the setting has to change. A lot of film thrives on seeing things and all that, but we cannot represent all that on stage. It's not possible. So what we needed to do for this particular production, I had to just find 5, locations, and then I plotted the whole film within those locations so that it will not be, the audience can follow easily the set changes. And of course, more importantly, I had to change the title. It was a Kobe Gomino in 2001. But with the series of events that happened till now, I didn't want to dwell again on the governor's son, because it was the governor's son that was the trigger of the whole changes in the film. But in this particular situation, the governors have become like emperors already. They are so strong. So I had to rename it to fit the subject matter. So the title changed to His Excellency our Governor. And I moved it from Yoruba to English as well. Yes. Was that on me?
No.
I changed the language of performance from English, from Yoruba, which is the source material, to English with the new product. And there was a reason for that. And naturally, I write my screenplays in English, but the dialogue would be in Yoruba. Because I had the training in theater. So writing earlier on at the beginning, the long story about why I started making Yoruba films. I used to make English films before I started making Yoruba. That's a long story. So, but if I want to write the story, I'll write in English, but the dialogue will come in Yoruba. So it's easier for me to actually use English this time around. Besides, Yoruba live theater does not thrive as much as the English live theater. So there are reasons for me to change the language. Like I said, the pruning of the scenery, the structure also has to be pruned. We have to, because it's a film to stage, we have to stay close to the episodic structure of film, which is actually also good for us, because things can move, movement 1, 2, 3 like that. That's how film moves. So that helps us for stage. We have to match scenarios. We have to reduce the characters a lot. For the film, we had the whole House of Assembly with all the crowd, so we had to prune that down because we cannot actually put like 200 people on stage at once and all that. But we did a lot of pruning of characters. Another finding is the intertextuality and of the adaptation. We had to be taking quotes, chunks of from the source material into this, and then update. Maybe somebody stole on 1 million naira in 2002. They don't steal 1 million naira now. So it has to be 10 billion naira. Like the time, the temporal-spatial arrangement to change some of the things, then the direct quotation allusions to, to what we've done before, and then we have some sort of thematic echo. We have to do this because, number one, it's a new product. But even as a new product, it was coming from, you can go up to analysis finding 2. We can go, to look at where it's coming from. When I wrote that film, there was a reason why it was written, and it was different. Yes, findings 2. So for what we have today, so for me, it was important to have a lot of those changes, and the reference and all that. For finding 3, and the kind of power that they have once they become the governor, executive governors. The characters, I retained the name of the main characters, but some I have to change, some I have to introduce new ones, so that we can have, in the film, one person now on stage can play 4 or 5 roles that 4 people play in the film. So I put all the dialogue together for them. The language and style changed. Like I said, we looked at poetry for stage, because stage we are appealing to people of culture, people who have more education. But for film, Akobi Governor was popular for everybody. So the style has to change. Like I said, the structure too changed. Visual symbolism for film was stronger. For stage, we were constrained because we couldn't actually, like, if you see the film, you see the convoy of, like, one thing you can see the powerful people in Nigeria, the political powerful people, is when they are passing. The convoy of cars, you can do that in film. But for stage, we only use the sound effect and all that. The spatial temporal relationship, like I said, from 2001, In fact, we brought in a huge screen for the governor's apartment. The screen was meant to work as multimedia, and it worked for us. This LED screen, the giant LED screen. So we had it in the sitting room, showcasing its level of, whatever opulence. But at the same time, all the news channel, all those that we couldn't show were able to run on it. So we had reporters scenario, we had the campaign scenario on the. So we had to use multimedia. Visual symbolism, like I said, we were able to do as much as we can. But for oral symbolism, that was easier because we had very effective sound, sound management. We were able to put a lot of effects, and it worked a lot because when you hear some sound, you know what it means. The space and setting for me, theater. The acting technique is very important for me to say this. It's sorry, I didn't know it's not even on stage, but the acting technique had to change. What you need on stage as an actor is not what you need on film. So we had to manage that as well. The actors they interact with with themselves on stage and then the audience. Whereas on screen, they interact with the microphone, with the camera. So it's a different acting technique. Performance management, of course, changed because then the old theatrical space had to be well managed. We had to locate the House of Assembly inside the auditorium so that our House of Assembly members who are coming from the auditorium, we had to put the we had to put the speaker on the stage, and then all this fighting and all that they had in the house, throwing of chairs and all that were properly managed. But it's not the same. When we shot the film, we shot it at the Oyo State House of Assembly. It was real, and it was so very graphic. But we were able to at least give a sense of this graphic thing. Now, audience relationship as well with the play. It's a totally different situation. Our audience were young people. Thank you, young audience. University audience. So it's a few of those people that understood where we're coming from. What they all know is about today, but where we've been coming from, where this thing has started, just a few older ones in the audience understood. But they got the message because the message is something that's happening to them now. But they don't know how bad it is when you tell them that, look, the governor in the year 2000 earns like 1 million naira or something. They can't understand, that when you compare to now. But we're able to also relate to the audience with the publicity and all that. They are well prepared for the production. In summary, critical analysis and technical interrogation of the Akobi Governor film, adapted into essentially a governor, affirms the artistic credibility of this new product. It's also as credible. It can stand on its own as a drama. If you have never seen the film and you see the play, you will not have missed anything. While the film stands again, now, if the film has to now be the play has to now be adapted onto film again, which is what they do in the West, it will also be different from the former one. So the process of adaptation translate the narrative elements, the themes, and the characters from the source materials onto the French performative medium. And of course, the reception of the product by the audience is greatly affected by either their familiarity or lack of familiarity with the subject and the older material. In conclusion, the study concludes that the Post-Osofisan generation have expanded the scope of Nigerian drama beyond the oral and literary into the very popular media of expression through the adaptation of materials from various sources. Now, Nigerian entertainment industry is ripe for an inverse adaptation, of film to stage. The effort of writers of this generation ensures that our survival and continuity of drama is assured because we've been very profuse in different diverse ways. My recommendation is that theater producers should experiment more with inverse adaptation of film to stage. And many popular films that I am sure of will do well if they have the opportunity. And of course, actors should be encouraged to partake in live theater more so that this will rejuvenate. When we say theater is done, theater is done. I wonder if we bring a very popular film onto stage with all the stars that theater that they will not find audience. So finally, government's advice to support this kind of adaptation as a means of rejuvenating live theater. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Mark Babalola. That was a very insightful presentation. Yes, smart presentation. Thank you so much. So we'll take all the questions together. Dr. Monsuru, are you ready? Dr. Lagide, are you ready for us? Can you hear us?
I am.
Okay, please go ahead. You have 20 minutes of presentation.
I can hear you. All right. Trying to.
You have 20 minutes. Your time starts now.
All right, ma'am. Drama as a form of storytelling has long been a powerful medium for exploring complex. Drama reflects the complexities of human reality, while
Please,
also
can you speak up
it
a little bit
encourages
more?
audience.
Can you
Can you hear me now, ma?
Can you hear him?
Struggling to hear you.
We are
I can
struggling
hear
to
you.
hear
Can you hear me?
Move close to your mic.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Move close to your mic.
I have done that.
Okay, good.
You can go
Can
ahead.
you hear me now?
Well, yes. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
All right. So, all right. To my people, I have heard you. Navigating the gray areas and exploration of moral ambiguity in Sonny Ododo's hard choice. So I'm going to start with exploration, the synopsis of the play, brief synopsis of the play. Hard Choice tells a story of two kingdoms, Igedu and Emepiri. The two kingdoms intended to further solidify their cordial relationships through the marriage of Prince Oki and Princess Azinge of Emepiri. Tragedy, however, struck when invaders attacked the wedding day and took away the ancient crown of Igedu. The crown was to be taken back in 7 days or King of Igedu dies. This sad development set the two kingdoms against each other. It was later revealed that Queen Amaka of Emepiri was behind the whole scheme. She made a vow to the god of the land with the life of the princess. She never wanted to fulfill the promise. Unfortunately, the princess paid the ultimate price. So quickly, I'm going to go through the thematic exploration of the play. So the first thing that I'm going to be looking at is insatiable pursuit of power. And getting rid of Uchenna, the rightful candidate to the throne. She had an accomplice in chief, Banga, who was also blindly ambitious. So I'm moving to the second theme, integrity, sense of duty. The Eze is an honor. I'm screaming on top of my voice now, and it's a
okay, just go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm screaming, sir.
Go ahead.
Don't scream, oh.
Just go ahead.
I am. All right,
go
sir.
Ahead.
All right,
go
Prof.
Ahead.
Thank you, sir. Eze is a man of honor. He stood by his word to marry the princess to Prince Oki in appreciation to Igedu's protection of his kingdom. When he also discovered the evil act of his wife, he allowed for the promise to the gods to be fulfilled, even at the cost of his death.
No, go down.
Synopsis.
No, that's past synopsis.
Yes. Please go on.
I'm now on the theme. I've led synopsis.
You said he's on
The
on the
themes.
themes of the film.
Yes, thematic expression. Yes, I'm on the third theme now. Cultural and spiritual sanctity. Both kingdoms revere the culture and the gods of their lands.
Good.
This is exemplified in both kings' action at the time of crisis. They consulted their deities and respected the wishes of the gods without hesitation. Theme 4, bravery and sacrifice. Prince Obi stood by Princess Azinge, uncovering those behind the tragedy, which we have Chief Banga and Kenamaka. Eze also displayed rare bravery by agreeing to sacrifice her daughter to appease the gods and save King Eginla's life. Although the vow was made without her consent, Azinge was courageous enough to give her life for the safety of the people. And the last one, Dark Secret.
Okay, good.
The play is covered by the blanket of Dark Secrets of Queen Amaka. She kept everyone close to her in the dark. This act spelled doom for all concerned. The king, the princess, Chief Banga.
That's Lagos, Nigeria for you when it rains.
Crisis in the play. Driven by her insatiable ambition, faced with the choice between tradition and personal gain, she opts to disrupt the natural order. She paved the way for the chaos by eliminating Uchenna, the rightful heir. She secures the throne for her husband. Her justification, though flawed, stems from a twisted sense of loyalty to the king. Look at the king, Okiako's choices or moral ambiguity. Okiako finds himself entangled in a web of dire circumstance, courtesy of marriage to the cunning matter. Torn between the unpalatable options, he must choose between his daughter's life and the survival of the kingdom. The king chose the latter. Though innocent of the transgression, Okiako takes it upon himself to atone for the vow, demonstrating his commitment to tradition and the well-being of his kingdom. So look at Princess Azinge rather. Princess Azinge embodies courage, selflessness, and strength as she willingly accepts her fate, paying the ultimate price for a sin she didn't commit. Her noble spirit prioritizes her people's survival over her own life. And lastly, Chief Ubanga. Chief Ubanga's ambition and tribalism cloud his judgment, leading him to betray his king's trust. He becomes embroiled in Queen Amaka's scheme, driven by selfish desires to ascend to the throne. Exploration rather, of difficult
If hello, can you hear yours? Hello?
The character's motivation and actions deflate characterization as purely good to resonate with the audience. The play's intricate characters, rich language, and thought-provoking narrative make it a work of enduring significance, capable of inspiring reflection, empathy, and understanding in audiences across cultures and contexts. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Mansuru, thank you so much for that. Please kindly stand by for the observations, questions, and from the audience. So, on this note,
yes, ma'am.
Yes, please kindly stand by. We'll take the questions later. So, what we have on this, Yes, on this, the concept for this panel is about the death of the critics of the Post-Osofisan dramatist. I also happen to be a presenter, so I'll be stepping down for my co-chair to take the chair while I take my paper. Mr. Co-chairman, sir.
Please. Thank you very much. Let's appreciate the first two presenters. As we get ready to listen to my co-chair, co-organizer, I'm wearing how many caps now? Plenty.
Okay.
Our paper is Discontinuities in Criticism and in Critical Canon, the base of the Post-Osofisan generation playwright by Toyi Okushina, Lee University, Ibadan, Southwest Nigeria.
Thank you. So over the last 3 years, over the last 3.5 decades, that's over 30 years, Nigeria has witnessed an influx of new and upcoming playwrights tagged the Post-Osofisan playwright. Incidentally, the person that tagged or started the Post-Osofisan movement is right here beside me. That's Professor Max Ademiju. This movement started around long before 2005. That particular period, there was NUTAF, Nigerian Theatre Art Festival, that we used to have for virgin plays, original plays by their authors. And this set of people also happened to be the one that spearheaded the neighborhood that we know, Osofisan, Soyinka, and the rest. They were taught by them. But if not all of them, have passed through and imbibed the period of that tillage. But on the other hand, too, we have the Nigerian Prize for Literature, which started as a CSR. The Nigerian Prize for Literature is an offshoot of the Nigeria NNLG, Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas. So the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas used the NPL as a platform for writers to showcase what they have, and that has to be originality. That's one thing. And then it also happens to be one of the highest paid in the country, if not the highest, that has initially started with 30 pounds, 50 pounds, then it graduated to 100 pounds.
100,000.
100,000 pounds. Dollars. Thank you. Graduated to $100,000. What started in 2004 then as CSR has come to stay. And you have playwrights putting in their place. So in the course of this study, I happened to look through about 400 plays over a period of 20 years. And then they were also structured into 4 different editions. I looked at the drama part of the NNLG, the drama competitions of the NNLG. So in a particular edition where, let's say 2004, 2006, 2010, 14, 18, and 22. So different plays were submitted, and those plays that were submitted, you see that at the initial stage, it was dominated by the older generation of writers. And you had people like Yerima, who was the winner of 2006. Then we had the 2010 winner. Sir? 2010 was Irobi. Irobi also happened to be one of the vanguard people that spearheaded the Post-Osofisan. Now, what are we talking about Post-Osofisan? Incidentally, Osofisan himself happens to be post-Wole Soyinka. But because people are not using those words, they are not using those terminologies. When you say something is post, does not mean that the person is dead, or is not writing, or is not in existence. But what I have here is that the evolution of this one I've already spoken about. Then the Post-Osofisan generation now had to contend for space and identity. Well, you can see from what we had today. Sorry. You can see from the presentations that we had today. Well, like I said, that our concept was to talk about the people that started writing after Osofisan. Not that Osofisan is not writing. Osofisan is still writing. Wole Soyinka is still writing. Bode Sowande, all of them are still writing. But the transition is that from this set of new people that happen, they are not actually new, the NNLG. So the NLNG came in as a platform to leverage for everybody, both old and new, to bring in their place. And they gave them benchmarks. So the benchmarks that was given for this place then was, first and foremost, one of them was originality. The person must be a Nigerian. And then you must submit your place that has not been submitted to somewhere else. And then it has a particular period. And what are they looking at? They are looking at your creativity. They are looking at where you are coming from and what you are presenting. How natural, how real. And the ones that are validated is because they are written there. Say, for example, Chimamanda Adichie. If Chimamanda were writing here in Nigeria and not there, and then they also have their own criteria. So we are looking at it that, okay, now you cannot say that Yerima is a Post-Osofisan. Yerima is not Post-Osofisan because Yerima also started writers at that particular period in time, but there was a time that he, I don't know the word to use, but
He went professional. He went
professional.
Became national.
And then later on, he came out. So it would not be right to call him a Post-Osofisan writer because he and Osofisan were almost at par as at that particular period. Just like you also had in the long list, you have Samukala. Samukala is not a Post-Osofisan writer. What makes them post? The post is that what they started writing on is different. They diverted away from the messianic stake. So they started writing what pertains to their immediate environment, and then they started examining the immediate environment. But basically what my work is about is that of critics, critical works, nobody. Now, I spoke with Professor Biodun Jaifo sometimes back, and he said that we should not expect them to start working or start criticizing the works, doing a critique of the works of the younger generation of writers because they had and formed their own critics. They created their own critics. You find a situation where Osofisan writes a play and he takes it to Jaifo to critique. And in those days, they used to have this balance. We are going to tear your work into pieces. But these days, what do we have? So if we are going to stop complaining that there's death of this work by taking their works, one of the issues that these Post-Osofisan writers also have is the issue of publishing. You see now that people now publish by themselves, self-publishing. What's also available for the older generation of writers, they had different platforms. You had Okike, you had the Black Orpheus, you had so many of them that they could use. But now, what do we have? And after going through the rigors of writing a play, you also have to go through the rigor of marketing it yourself. And in the process of marketing, it is what you are giving. And most of the plays are even taken from what is it now? They give you free. The ones that are collected, complimentary copies. And the ones that are not complimentary, they are not paid for. Now, when you also look at the older generation of writers, ask them why are they not critiquing the works of this generation of writers. They tell you that there's nothing new to write about in their place because what they are saying. But actually, we are of the opinion from the research that I have carried out that there is something definitely new from their work that they are doing. So I said that now they have their own dramatic style. Even though they were taught by Osofisan, the Wole Soyinkas, but then there's a legitimate topic that they have for the academic, and then the critics also can. Hello, are you online? Is anyone there? Are you hearing me, please? Hello?
I can hear you, ma. I'm
okay,
online, ma.
Okay, what about the other guests? The guests online?
I think they are trying to connect.
All right. So now, leveraging on the NLNG, that has, you know that we have other platforms. We have ANA. We have Sonta, ANA, so many of them. But then the continuity. Now, NLNG has been able for over 20 years, 2004 to 2025 now, that's over 21 years. And they have these 4 genres: literature, poetry, prose, and drama, which is biannual. So they rotate it every year. The price for literature is rotated every year between these 4 genres. And when you look at it, I mean, $100,000 is a lot of money that you look at and you write. And then they also have a price for literary criticism. So it has come to stay, and it has become a leverage for up-and-coming playwrights, not only for up-and-coming playwrights. Now, I said that the creative symbiosis. What makes it creative symbiosis? Because it serves both the old and the new. So you can bring in your work. Once you meet the criteria, the benchmark, and they look at it, they have a panel of judges. They have an international assessor. So once the work is assessed and they look at it, and if it meets the criteria, you get your prize. We also have other platforms, but this one, because it is the largest one and that it is acceptable. So even though it started as a CSR, but you know that a lot of money is being spent to bring this literary work into life. And there's gradually been a shift now, because in those days, I asked myself when I was doing this research that it looks as if the NPL was dominated by the older playwrights. When Yerima came in, the winner left, then the other one came in, there's between 2006 and 2010, Esiaba Ruby. Then 2014, the new playwrights started coming in. So essentially, in conclusion, like I say, that it is time for us to stop complaining about the older generation of writers, not looking at the work of the younger generation of writers, by creating our own body, a platform, by taking up the works of these up-and-coming playwrights, looking at them. And that is why I said that what is the fate of the post-Osofisan generation when they are still struggling to survive? You know that the Wole Soyinkas, the Femi Osofisans are not resting on their oars. They are still writing. They are still effervescent. They are still taking the hold of that. But the beauty of it is that the younger generations are not competing with them in the area of what they are writing. They have carved out their own niche for themselves by relating to their environment, what pertains to them, what bothers them, and what pertains to the society, the originality, without the much elaborate, the elaboration that we have. So I conclude that the older playwrights, though they continually receive scholarly attention, there is a need to study and propagate the work and the assessment of the emerging, or for the emergence of and the growth of the post-Osofisan playwright. So the post-Osofisan does not mean that Osofisan is not relevant. It does not mean that Osofisan is not in existence. It is that these are the people that started writing after the dramaturgy of Osofisan, creating their own dramaturgy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Toyi Ogushina, for that brilliant presentation.
Please, can you help me show the slide of the writers? The second slide.
We need to take note of. We have listened to the 3 presenters. If you look at that poster for our panel, we try to bring up members of the Osofisan generation and our own generation that we believe that should be studied. So this is just a call up on critics of this new generation. Like we've heard from the last presenter, the age group members of Osofisan and the rest were the ones that midwifed their drama. why is it that our own peers are not interested in our works? This is one of the questions on the table. We had a comment from Dr. Sholadeyemi. Yes. Can you pause read that?
Not a question, but a comment. Samsung is a serial adapter or a reader of other playwrights and Yoruba culture. Just this as a part of the statistics of relevance to the reinvent ideas and popularize plots. A copy domino in the same format, with the brackets of continuity of the same religious tradition. In essence, the quintessential Post-Osofisan take in quotes as a technique. The uniqueness of a copy domino is that it is Nubian.
No, for the modern.
Okay, yeah, go on.
For the modern Nigerian stage, from left of the song.
Okay, what's the second point you made?
You got to answer that.
No, you got a question.
The comment.
Nigerian authors. As a corporate social responsibility, activity on the part of NLNG, it has grown over the years to become what we know about. Yes, can you read it?
Capturing the song 1971, which also echoed fame, such as
4, 5.
Yes, sir.
Can I continue? Such as for an element
They're
of
back again, I think.
Kongi's harvest.
Kongi's harvest.
Kongi's harvest. This is indeed a continuation of the engagement. Okay, a question from Grace.
I think, yes, what's the question?
Question
Okay, they are reading my question.
Can you share some of the
Yes, I think they are.
of adapting from screen to stage in your experience and how you address them? The second question, how is the educational institution aligning with the idea in encouraging the students to consider this route?
That's all.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to answer that one?
Can we take more questions? Write that one down. Maybe there will be more questions for you. And then the gentleman online, then the gentle lady physically here. Number one. Okay, let's make it brief so that we can maximize the time.
The first question is to brilliant presentation, and I like your courage as well. Because there is a fear that stage performances are going extinct. So now coming from film, which is popular, to stage, is quite familiar. But in the theater, we say that there is no two performers at the same, unlike the film. So now, how are you able to now make that adaptation? Same when you have several performances. It's not likely going to have also change. Then having to change the title from focusing on According to His Excellency now, is it not totally also changing the story itself and there may be the theme as well? Let me leave it there.
Okay, thanks very much. Oladipo, can you hear us? Dr. Oladipo, are you online?
I'm on, sir.
Okay, Dr. Olajide, good afternoon, and thank you for your presentation. But I will need some clarifications. I was a bit lost with your presentation. I don't know whether you are doing a review or whether you are doing, a critical study of the text, because I didn't hear you talk about the method you adopted or the theory that you applied into whatever it is that you did.
All right.
That's that for you.
Okay.
Then for Madam, yes, I also enjoyed your presentation. And I think the challenge we have, I think we are the challenge. I'm a teacher, I teach. I will not allow you use Wole Soyinka's works because I know, unless the works are new. So what I do is to look out for new publications and ensure that is what I encourage my students to study. Because that way I can begin to engage them. Because if they go and pick a work that was written in 1972, and several things are written about that work, there's a likelihood that they will go and do copy and paste. But if the work is new, of course, it means they have to do their own analysis. And that way we can begin to build critics for this post-Osofisan generation.
Thank you very much. Please call the question and number 2.
Thank you. I'm Sadisha from Obafemila University, Ife. And my first question is for Dr. Babalola. You made mention of some serious changes that you've made in attempting to change the order of these tasks. And the one that concerns me is the aspect of language. Because I'm a language person. You said successfully, because of there are some Yoruba expressions, terminologies that are better left in Yoruba than translating them. You will never find equal quality of what that expression offers in Yoruba when you translate them to English versions. And to some extent, there are some Yoruba words that we've not been able to find their equivalences in English. So we better leave them the way they are. So that's my question. And for Dr. Ogunshino, I want to address what he has said. If we, because this is what this panel is on, if we want to find new critics for new generations of writers, I think the lecturers, the teachers are the ones to take the task of, in language, when we are to analyze texts, poems, and prose works, we endeavor to choose that are not popular with the view that they will not be able to copy it anywhere. New writers that are just writing. It may even be someone that has not even seen the limelight. So we attempt to give them audience more. So by students studying, a lot of students, we are going to create a wider critic than.
We that are here, we were taught by the Osofisans, by Wole Soyinkas. Are we not stuck to them? In most cases, when we want to recommend books for our students, we choose the ones that we are familiar with. So who is going to promote them? The post-Osofisan playwright. Who is going to patronize them? I just concluded my sabbatical in last. And during my sabbatical, I taught special author. And I started thinking about, which author? I had to talk to the HOD, what have you done before? And all the names were the past. All the people that I've taught. And I asked my students, so when I go to the class and I said, okay, we will be working, I started thinking actually, how can I bring someone new? I wanted to go feminist. So I decided to bring a woman. And then I said, okay, let me choose Irene Abuloye. It's okay, Abuloye. Salami. And that was what we now did. You see, the students had never, when we presented that seminar, we had 27 groups of 10 people each of that class. They had never read one of our works. So I had to source for all her works. I had to talk with her. She was outside the country. I had to make the works for the works to be way built to Lagos. I had to arrange all that. Are we willing to go that extra mile? Are we not stuck to the ones we are also familiar with? For instance, my colleagues, when we go for Santa or so on, I try to pick their books so that my students can produce new plays. And just like you said, if you give them old plays, it's easy for them to go and copy and paste. But with what we did in that special author, I knew the students were taxed and I had to force them to buy those books. And then they had a new tilt in that particular course. So I'm saying we should assess ourselves. We should also step beyond those people we are clinging on to so much because they are our mentors. Okay. That is one. Then I just want to say a little thing about Dr. Smart's presentation. We're talking about the stage and so on. But in this age and time, let's be realistic. How many of these students are going to be interested in keeping the stage alive? It's only people like us.
We talked in our session yesterday, in one of the sessions, we were talking about skits, performances, Nollywood, and so on. But they have all these things and they are making money from it. And now telling somebody to rehearse for maybe 4 weeks, rigorous, you can only achieve it now because you are a teacher in an institution. Just start a company and say people should come and do stage performance. And how much are you going to pay them? So, thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope Dr. User website is good. Yes, next question.
Thank you very much. My contribution is that there are ways we can do small things actually to also help the post-Osofisan generation. Like at the National Film Institute, I teach script writing, and as part of the things that the things we do, what I introduced, we've had 2 sessions now. We do something with the author. Professor Ademeju has been reading with us for like 2 years now. We do a reading, not over, and it's always exciting because when I read what they write in the exam, some of them say, I don't know it can be this exciting to read plays. I think I will also try to be writing. So this kind of small things can be done to encourage those authors that we talk about. That's one. 2. Dr. Romano, thank you very much for this. Although, like it's been said, we would have expected you to go from the stage to the screen than, but we know that it's done, it's acceptable, and that is very unique. I will have been more happy. I will have been happier if someone has actually done this work, so that you are the subject, because you are the one that have done this experiment. It would have been better for you to be studied so that you share all these experiences with us. But there are times that you have to also be the one to tell your own stories. I was sharing this with Mr. Shotibi, Dr. Shotibi, just yesterday, that look, sometimes there are some stories that only you can tell. And what you have done, I'm sure, will be.
Yeah, okay. Dr. Grace, are you good? Can you hear me?
I'm here, sir.
Unmute. Dr. Grace, can you hear?
Unmute yourself and speak.
I can hear you.
Okay, can you keep it very brief?
Auntie, unmute yourself and speak.
I said I can hear you. I'm on mute.
Okay, so you are raising your hand. What do you have for us?
Oh, sorry. That was when I was going to give you my questions, but I have typed it in and it has been read. Sorry,
Okay.
I would.
I'll see the question I want to ask. Okay, so that's all. You're okay. Okay. Do we have? Let's hear your responses. If there are no other questions, yes. Any other question, comments, suggestions? Yes. Are we okay with the structure of their presentations and all of that?
I was just going to ask, is there any means to revive the culture of reading into the right for the originality sake you mentioned your presentation? Or reading new.
And the culture is there. It's always there. It's there. It was not.
Find that
platform. Now,
I was
it is
37 years.
in the sense that in places where we teach playwriting, our students also write plays. Practical exam, and then say, oh, all of you did well, clap for yourself. If people's costume, tell them your costume, who did your costume? That's what we call Bible. I don't know whether they start with Bible now. So it started from don't all Bible. We went through grading. Who were taught by Osofisan. I also want to make a comment. We are not condemning the works of the older parents. We are not saying their work is not good. We are not saying don't patronize or don't read them. In fact, they are not even starting. They are writing till tomorrow. When you just think that it's all over, you see after the identification of the area boys, I went to watch the identification of the area boys once I work on Dramaturgy.
and you see the kind of style that he used. You know, a scene takes place here. All of us have finished, and then we see that they have arranged other places all over the place. And then you just carry your chair. Go to the other side. This one, they will tell you, don't carry chair. So multiple scenes at different places. And who started the demystification of the stage? It started in the movement of the photo. So encourage your students to do their best, critique them, and at the same time, when you also tell them that put this new place, I even wrote here now, how many people know they have to like place? And then consistency. Our playwrights too, after one or two plays, and then apart from that, you know, I made mention of that. There's all these platforms that are built for this. Then publishing and also printing your work yourself and distributing and marketing it. It's an issue. So we also look at the aspect of the publishers, and we are looking at ways of bringing the publishers and the playwrights together. I wrote a letter. I wrote to the NLNG concerning this. We can't be showcasing the playwrights and their books. Invite the publishers. Then these books that will give them 100,000, distribute them to universities, to youth, to arts. And the guy told me that this is not a drama company.
Yes.
In fact, the second time I went, I was not allowed to. And they didn't treat me well at all.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mabala.
Thank you so much. And let's start from bottom up. Stage to screen. I did a lot of that in the early 2000s. I did Ladipo Madawo, which was a stage drama written by Olariwaju Adepoju. I took that to screen. I did another one. Can't remember the title now. I actually did that. Then TK did a number of that. What's his name? There are many people in Nigeria that have done drama to stage to screen. That is a gone conclusion. I always do that anytime. In fact, TK just did the Cordelia, Osofisan something. Mami. Like you can do that easily. But the area I would look at is the converse, especially if a film is popular. For me, this one I did is like far too fetched, like 20 years difference. But let's say film is popular this year and it runs well and all that. Just before the old hype dies, somebody is able to convert that into a musical for stage or into a drama for stage with the stars, with some of the stars. And it goes round. It will still generate a lot of hype, a lot of money and all that. And it will also help the live theater. People will always gravitate towards whatever is happening. I believe the younger generation will, because that's what I teach. I teach them African theater. And I know that it is possible for some of them to do live theater. In fact, they even practice that now with their private productions, and we teach them the better way to do it. And I tell them, look, I'm a street guy. I did this, I'm telling you, and these are where I failed. I've run professional theater before. I know why I failed. I know the money, So, but I point them at Bolale Austin Peters. Come, she's doing it, and she didn't read theater. So if you have the courage, you can do it, and you can also do film like she's doing. No. I mean, nothing is, cast in stone. Being stuck, like you said, a lot of us are stuck. In fact, I'm in the Department of Theatres, the fossilized Department of Theatres, University of Ibadan. We are very stuck. Sorry, man. Actually, we are so stuck in the past. Osofisan is still with us. He's an emeritus in my department, and I had some run-ins. I mean, naturally. 2019, my play was chosen to be used for convocation play. I said, okay, what play is that? Bring it, let me read it. And I gave him. And he said, I don't understand. I said, sorry, sir, we are doing it. But by the time the play went on stage, and people came from everywhere, including big dignitaries, and the JAMB registrar looked at the VC and said, this play is bigger than this theater. So what kind of theater is this? See the kind of play. That was when they started to feel, oh, really? I'm a director. I'm a craft play. I might not come from the background of writing like that, but I know when I want to do a good play. So I did the play, and after the play, I said, okay, this was converted from a screenplay to stage. Okay, so I published it, and a number of schools have done the play since then. But it taught me something. In UI, convocation plays are always Shoyinka or Osofisan. Shoyinka or Osofisan. And it's so like boring to the young kids. They want things, they want musical, they want stuff, they want different things. And so they are asking, so what are we using this year for competition? When you say Shoyinka, they go like, again. But we have people in our generation that are stuck in that path. Yes, sir. Are you talking to me? I did a play, Shifojiko's play, what was that called? Embers. He won NLNG actually. So because he won that prize, then I said, okay, this boy is from our department, let us honor him by doing this as a convocation play. I mean, but the play is too wordy. This maybe I'm the director. By the time we put the play up, people like, what? Now, that is what we do for stage plays. But you see, as long as you are not refined, not rejuvenated, you always want to do what you are familiar with. And that's, I think, the problem is. So we need to step out more. Like this I did, is also stepping out. I said, okay, I wanted to celebrate my sister's birthday. I would like to do something different. And I was saying that. So I said, oh, we use it for your, anniversary and all that. And so I started writing, which gave me to challenge of writing adaptation from Dr. Adenku. I was writing the Warriors. It was difficult to write film to stage because now I planned. Okay, what are important? What are not important? What do you remove? What don't you remove? What do you bring together? So it was a lot of plotting. But then after I plotted, I said, okay, I'm just going to have 5 movements. And those 5 movements, I should be done with this play. I don't want to do more than 1 hour. I'm coming from a background of directing. So me, I will not keep my audience more than 1 hour, 45 minutes. If it gets to 1, but I have a colleague of mine who can keep the audience for 3 hours. Yes, always showing can't play. That's all the forest. He will be so faithful and he will do it. But fantastic production. But me, I can't even sit that long. So I would not do that to my audience. So I always plan from right. Okay, so this is not important. Throw it away. Okay, sorry. Now, we need to understand that language is fluid. If Yoinka could translate Ogbojode to something I cannot even read, because that one is not really difficult again. But sincerely speaking, I didn't find it hard because I even done a transliteration for Lade Komadawu. That was a stage play, Yoruba, that I did in Yoruba film. I've done it into stage play in English because I just have to sit down. Well, I'm blessed with this ability a bit, I thank God. But I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I try so much to get, because Wale Ogunyemi did this very well. I worked with Wale Ogunyemi, and I know as a strong Yoruba man. But when he will take those offer, the meta languages of the local people and turn to English, I'll be reading. And if you speak those offer like that, they actually happen. Like Obaloi, most people will go and be speaking, they think it's just poetry. They are real. So it translates them as it is. So I've done a number of that. And I think with language, I didn't have a problem. But the final thing I want to say is that the fidelity. This is a new product. As a new product, it has to stand on its own merits. So changing the title for me was because I was looking at where I was going. I was a younger man 25 years ago when I wrote this the film. Now I'm 25 years older, experienced a lot of things in Nigeria. The system has even gone haywire. So I wanted to pull out those important things I need to concentrate on. The government is still there. He still did what he did in the film. But even after the film was released, I looked at it and said, no, this film is not about this guy. But I acted the role, and I was in England. and it was easy for me to act the role. So I was looking for a title that will be punchy, and of course, actually, I fashioned after somebody that died. Tinubu's first son was the guy in London that inspired me to write Akobe Gomino, the kind of life he was living, enjoying through his, So when I wrote the thing, and at the end of the day, I said, oh, this should be about the governor more than the son. So that's what I did. I corrected myself in this play. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mamola. So we take Dr. Sorry, Dr. Adeyemi, we are coming. You have a question for Dr. Olajide? Yes. Okay, Dr. Olajide. Monsieur Dr. Olajide, can you respond to your question?
Is it?
So the question said that what I presented, is it a review or a critique? Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go on.
All right. So as
you.
presented, it's a review.
It's a review.
So it's a review as presented. Yes,
okay.
And it's the theoretical framework for that is ethical criticism by Jeremy Bentham.
Ethical criticism. By Jeremy Bentham.
That's the theory.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bentham, that is the theoretical framework, man.
Okay, I'm sure that's the only question for you, right? Now, can we take Dr. Shola Adeyemi, please? We've read your initial comments.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We have read your initial comments. Thank you for contributing.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the initial comment responds to Akobe Gomino. The initial comment responds to Akobe Gomino and the meta theatrics of adaptation, from film to stage and stage to film. And it's a good thing that Dr. Smart Babalola is relaunching that. It's been done before. I mean, we all know we're talking about Post-Osofisan. Morun Todun is, people think it's from the traditional Moremi myth, but it's not. It's actually from Durula Dikbo's
television.
Moremi. And Chatra, the song is elements of Kongi's Harvest, the film, So having all this good thing, but the person actually know, about the narratives of the canonical represented, or the interventions in the canonical narratives. People probably add Okike, Black Ophios, and New Horn by Omatosho and Osofisan in those days. But these are the ways, the methods in which playwrights have always survived in Nigeria, which modern playwrights are not adapting to, or they're not adopting. In the 60s and the 70s, the established publishing these Longmans and Evans stop accepting works of new writers. Stop the wanted works of Larutimi, whom they didn't pay. Evans didn't pay him. They wanted the works of JP. They wanted the works of Shoyan. The NLNG was a publishing house. I have a publishing house, but I find that Nigerian universities don't want their lecturers and playwrights to publish. They are now saddled with having to market their own work, having to promote their own work, which we know is not the work of one person. So I just want to take up Ogushina on that. Maybe this is something, and not Ogushina, actually every one of us there, we are in the universities in Nigeria. Why don't we intervene and say, look, why must we always insist that our writers publish with Longmans or established foreign publishers? Why not with our own publishers, our own mates, our own peers? I don't know how many works Ademiji Bekwa has been able to publish in the past 5 years. I know how many I've been able to publish, and I know how many of them that have to be republished in collaboration with established foreign publishers so that the Nigerian universities can rate them and accept them for promotions. You know, these are the fights that we should be fighting. These are the fights that the Osofisan group fought. You know, so anyway, that's my stampeding of Ogbushina. Thank you very much for.
We appreciate the consultation. God bless you. I agree. The king for us, the queen is dead. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, so my brother Israel doesn't want to speak, no problem. I spare you. Then, yeah, 30 seconds, please.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So my concern is there a not a canon as it were, because you were talking about criticism, you know, and I don't think all the playwrights fall within that context. Perhaps you are looking at these playwrights just because of the period, say after Osofisan, but in terms of their thematic concern, I will disagree with you that they are not thinking about the survivalist and all that, because I actually, every time I go to conferences, buy plays, and these guys are doing something. One thing you take from it now is that they're thinking more about the performance of the play. So you see the play as if it's being performed. That's how I actually align with it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. This young man sitting here actually speaking of the ideology of individualism and survivalism for the post-Osofisan generation. During my field work, when the older generation, the Lewison and the Shoika were saying, you guys don't have any ideology, so we take your writing serious. So that was summarized into the ideology of individualism and survivalism. Yeah, we've heard from the presenters how the older generation, you know, exchanged their, you know, script, tore them apart, but we now have ourselves. So we're even afraid to give our speed to lead to victory. And what this panel has called for, yes, I agree with the last speaker, performance. So how do we even perform? Well, that was where I started my own research from in 1995. We didn't have the stage, we didn't have access to the stage. It was our organ. We didn't have access to publishing houses. But now I waited how many years before I could bring out my first published play by Craft Books. Many years. That's rape of the last Sultan. After that, because like everybody said, I had to market it, I decided to go into publishing. I've self-published, which is not a crime, and I've published others in poetry, drama, and other genres. So this is not a call on the other generation to critique our works, but for members of our generation to begin to take on. And the challenge has been drawn to lecturers, teachers, and all of them. Where is that?
Shola Yemi.
Shola Yemi again.
Okay. Conference.
Yes. Yes, 13 to 17 June 2026 at the University of Ibadan. When, okay, let me just let the cat out of the bag a little. Osofisan will be 80 on June 16 next year. That is why we are organizing that. Thank you very much for being part of this. I will wish everyone a good evening, because we have another panel from 5:30. Thanks to Amina, second person. Thanks to our presenters online and offline. And everyone.